everyone! This is already the end of May, and so in this video I'm going to do a quick wrap-up of all the books I have read this month. I will finish with a couple of books that I would like to get to in June, but this is not going to be sort of full-on TBR list, as I'd quite like to be able to pick up, any book depending on my mood. So let's jump into it, starting with the audiobooks I have listened to this month. I found on Audible a package of 5 books for the price of 1, which I thought was quite good. Those are the 5 books from H.G. Wells, who is well known as the father of science fiction. I have read The War of the World a few months ago, and then in May I read The First Man in the Moon and The Time Machine. I really loved and really enjoyed The First Man in the Moon. It was absolutely ridiculous how they actually got on the moon, but that's just, a detail. The Time Machine I liked less. I've sort of rated it only 3 stars out of 5. It was still sort of good fun, but there were a couple of things rubbing me the wrong way. So I'm gonna finish listening to those maybe in June, maybe in July. The 2 that I have left are The Island of Dr. Moreau and The Invisible Man. And then I'll do a sort of book review of all 5 together because they're very much the same style. So I think what I will like for some and dislike will be sort of fairly similar. Now, moving on to physical books, starting with non-fiction one. The first book I read this month was The Prisoners of Geography by Tim Marshall, which I rated 4 stars out of 5. It's very accessible. It's a 101 on geopolitics. I think if you're really into geopolitics and you know already a lot about it, this is probably going to be a bit too shallow because this is more of an introduction, but I personally learned a lot. One slight negative point that I have on the book is actually the fact that the title is a bit of a clickbait. It says 10 maps that tell you everything you need to know about global politics. That's not true. It's just 10 maps. There's nothing really exciting about them. But anyway, it was a good read. I would recommend it. Next, we have Empire Land by Sathnam Sanghera, who is a British journalist born from Punjabi parents, and he's exploring in this book how the history of colonialism and empire in the UK has shaped how the UK is at the moment. He touches on a lot of topics that are heavily being discussed in the UK at the moment, including Brexit, racism, whether statues of slave traders should be removed from public spaces, whether there should be a mandatory sort of curriculum around imperialism and colonialism to ensure that everyone knows about the history. So I think for anyone living in the UK, this is absolutely a must-read. Moving on to fantasy books, I have read The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon with a bit of difficulty. I would rate it probably 2 stars. I think I decrease it every time I talk about it, but it was just too long for me and the characters were not, very relatable. So I would not particularly recommend it, but I can definitely understand why some people really love it. So if you want to understand whether this might be for you or not, I have done a full review video that I will link in the description below. And the last 2 books that I have read this month are books 3 and 4 of the Murderbot Diaries, which I just loved. I want Murderbot to be my best friend, basically. It's sci-fi, it's a novella format, and so it's very quick, very fast-paced. It's brilliant. I'm really looking forward to books 5 and 6, but I need to wait. I just can't keep, buying books that quickly. So I'm really trying to wait as long as possible, but I'm not sure how long I'll be able to actually. I have made a full review video for those ones as well, so I will link that in the description, but I would highly, highly recommend it. Now, moving on to my June TBR, I'm actually currently already reading 2 books, so I'll start with those ones. The first one is an audiobook. It's The Push from Tommy Caldwell, who is a professional American climber. I am a fan because I love climbing. You can actually see a documentary on Netflix that is centered on his life. It's called The Dawn Wall, and the book is very much similar to the documentary in that it follows some of the obstacles and the trauma that he had to overcome and the amazing work that he did to do the first ascent of the Dawn Wall. So it's very much a story of resilience. I've already listened to more than half of the book, and for now it's been brilliant. I'm not 100% sure if people who are not into climbing would enjoy it as much as I did, but otherwise I would definitely recommend it, even though I haven't yet finished the book. The second book that I'm reading at the moment is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. This is the first book of the Life Ship Trader. I really love Robin Hobb. I'm a massive fan of The Realm of the Elderlings, and so I'm really happy to get back to her writing. I've only read 200 pages and I'm already so attached to the character, and that's something that Robin Hobb is very famous for, but she also made me like almost tear up already in 200 pages, so I just can't wait to finish it. I'm very excited about this one. Next, I have also just started reading Natives, Race and Class in the Ruins of Empire by Akala, which is also an exploration of how imperialism and colonialism has shaped current Britain. Right at the start of the book, Akala starts by exploring what it meant for him to grow up as a mixed race children in the UK, and so I'm very much expecting for the rest of the book to have that sort of part autobiography, part study feel, which I typically like because it allows you to relate a bit more to some of the points that the author is making. Finally, I have two books on my list that I'd quite like to get to in June. The first one is The Crow Folk by Mark Stay, which takes place in 1940 during the Second World War in Britain. A young girl realizes that she's a witch. It's supposed to be witty and fun, and for fans of Terry Pratchett, so I have high expectations for this one as well. And the last book I have on my list is Lilac Girls by Martha Hall Kelly, which is also set during the Second World War. We follow the lives of three women, an American, a Polish, a German one. Two of them are apparently based on real people. I very much enjoy stories of heroes during the resistance, so I have also quite high expectations for this one. We'll see. That's it. That's the May wrap-up and a portion of my June TBR. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And if you've read any of these books, please leave a comment. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.